This is Chris Medeiros. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other YouTube channel, Word of Chris 1-800. Subscribe to this channel, Chris Medeiros, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram. It'll all be down there in the description box. And I'm here to do my AEW Dynamite February 2nd, 2022 review. So here we go, discussing about tonight's episode, AEW Dynamite. And the first thing that happened on Dynamite was a one-on-one match between Jon Moxley versus Willar, Yuda, with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen at ringside. And it was a pretty good match between the two. At the ending of this match, we seen Jon Moxley pretty much got a sleeper hold onto Yuda, and then he was making him pass out, and then starts hitting elbows onto him in the face and stuff, and then lifts him up for the paradigm shift, and then pin him for the 3 count. So yeah, Jon Moxley defeated Willar Yuda tonight on Dynamite. Now, Jon Moxley's opponent was originally supposed to be Brian Kendrick, but some stuff popped up about him and pretty much got taken out of that. So yeah, Brian Kendrick was supposed to be Moxley's opponent tonight. He was supposed to make his debut, but some stuff came up and yeah, he got taken out. But yeah, that match was pretty good, I guess. I'll give that match a 1.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. It didn't went too long. It went like about 7 or 8 minutes. So yeah, it was a pretty short match, but it was still pretty good. But then after the match ended, we had Bryan Danielson appear behind Jon Moxley, and Danielson was talking about, instead of fighting and stuff, how about they team up, go after the world title, or the tag team titles, or the TNT championship. That's what Bryan Danielson was telling Moxley, and said they could become a tag team, and told him to think about it, think about the legacy that he will leave behind once he moves on from wrestling. So yeah, that's what Bryan Danielson was telling Moxley and told him to think about it. So yeah, that's what happened. Pretty good stuff on Dynamite. Still to come later on tonight. It will be CM Punk versus MJF later on tonight. So yeah, that will be the main event. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite was we had Brandy Rhodes come out, and she was speaking and pretty much, getting some heat and stuff, calling Chicago Cleveland and stuff like that. But then Dan Lambert, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page came out, and they was talking junk to her. And Brandy Rhodes was talking about the only reason we hired you, Ethan, was to get closer to Josh Alexander. So yeah, that's what Brandy Rhodes was talking about. But then the crowd started chanting, "Shut the fuck up." So everybody was chanting that, which was pretty funny. But then Dan Lambert, he's pretty good on the mic. He was talking about before he gets canceled by cancel culture. He wants to slap the shit out of her, and pretty much put that on the top of his bucket list. But then Brandy Rhodes slapped him, and he said, "You know what? I got somebody for you." And then Paige Van Zert came out. I think that's her name. She came out and starts attacking Brandy Rhodes, putting her into the corner. But then pretty much the AEW women's locker room came out and pulled them two apart, and that's what happened. But yeah, that's what happened there. But then Matt Hardy was backstage talking to Andrade, and he was talking about like why Darby Allin signed, and Andrade said probably more money, and that's what happened there. But apparently they got Isaiah Cassidy, and he's going to be taking on Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship on Rampage Friday. So yeah. That's everything that happened. Pretty good segment with Brandy Rhodes and Dan Lambert. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next match. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, so it was a tag team match. It was Pac and Penta versus the Kings of the Throne. The Kings of the Black Throne, I meant. Malachi Black and Brody King. It was a pretty good tag team match between the two teams. Pat came out with his eyes blindfolded and stuff, pretty much trying to play mind games with Malachi Black, and he took the blindfold off. His eyes is perfectly fine, and at the ending of this match, it looked like Pac and Penta was going to end the match. They was about to hit Fear Factor onto Malachi Black, but then Brody King comes up, pushes Pac off the top turnbuckle, and he lands outside of the ring. And then Penta was trying to hit that package power driver onto Malachi Black, but Malachi Black flipped over him, and then he spits mist in his eyes, and then Brody King and Malachi Black hit the tag team finish move, Dante's Inferno, and then pinned him for 3 counts. So yeah, Malachi Black and Brody King, the Kings of the Black Throne, has defeated Pac and Penta in a tag team match. Pretty good tag team match. I'll give that match a 2.5 out of 5 stars. That's why I'll give it. Pretty good match between the two teams. Still to come later on tonight, MJF versus CM Punk in the main event. So yeah, that match will be pretty good. But up next, it looks like it will be Ruby Soho versus Nyla Rose. So yeah, that'll be the next match. So the next thing that happened on Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match between Nyla Rose and Ruby Soho, and it was a pretty good match between the two. At the very ending of this match, we seen Nyla Rose sitting on the top turnbuckle, and then it looked like Ruby was going to hit the Hurricanrana off the top turnbuckle on her, but Nyla Rose held on, lifted her up like in the powerbomb position, but Ruby fought out of it, and then she gets back down to the mat while Nyla Rose is still sitting on the top turnbuckle, and then she was going to hit her finish move, that kick, but she missed, and she landed on her back, and then Nyla Rose climbs up the top turnbuckle, and then jumps off for a swanton bomb, landing on the Ruby Soho's back, and then picked her up and hit her finish move, the Beast Bomb onto her, and then pinned her for the 3 count. So yeah, Nyla Rose has defeated Ruby Soho tonight on Dynamite. Pretty good match between the two. I'll give that match I'll give it 2 out of 5 stars. So I'll give it a pretty good match between the two. Still to come later on tonight, MJF versus CM Punk in the main event. But up next, Adam Page will be on Dynamite. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Dynamite, so it was the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Hangman Adam Page, and he came out to the ring, and pretty much he was getting interviewed by Tony Schiavone, but then he starts calling out Lance Archer, and we seen Dan Lambert and Jake the Snake Roberts come out, and then they was talking about like how Adam Page fears Lance Archer and stuff, but then Lance Archer came out, he said, "We're going to stop the bullshit. Let's go ahead and fight now." And Lance Archer got hit with a suicide dive by Adam Page. And then Adam Page was beating the hell out of Archer, throwing him into the steps. And then Dan Lambert comes up, hits Adam Page in the back with a steel chair, but it had no effect on him. But then Dan Lambert runs into the ring. Adam Page got on the ring apron, and then he got hit in the back by Lance Archer with the steel chair. And then Lance Archer picks him up for his finisher move. I think it's called a blackout. And he hits Adam Page with it through the table outside the ring and laid him out. So yeah, pretty good segment between the two. I think they're going to be facing off in a one-on-one match next week on Dynamite for the AEW World Championship. So yeah. But yeah, it was a pretty good segment between the two. But yep, still to come later on tonight, CM Punk versus MJF in the main event. That's going to be a good match. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was the main event. It was CM Punk versus MJF one-on-one. It was a pretty good match between the two. These guys did a lot of stuff. At one point in the match, like MJF has won the match when he had a sleeper hold locked on to CM Punk while choking him with the wrist tape onto him. And then the referee grabbed CM Punk's hand when it looks like Punk was passed out, and he dropped his hand down 3 times, and MJF won that one, but then all of a sudden the referee spotted the tape and restarted the match. And at one point in the match, we seen CM Punk hit the Pepsi plunge onto MJF. It's been years since we've seen that move. Like, I think, like, when he was in Ring of Honor, in, like, 05 or whatever. I think that was, like, around the last time we ever seen Punk hit the, Pepsi plunge. But, yeah, it was pretty cool to see him bring that move back. But then, at the ending of this match, we see MJF fall out the ring. When CM Punk was calling for to go to sleep, he fell out the ring, and then Wardlow came out and passed the ring to MJF, and CM Punk threw MJF back into the ring, and then the referee was distracted by Wardlow, and then MJF hit CM Punk upside the head with that ring, and then pinned him for the 3 count. So yeah, MJF has defeated CM Punk tonight in the main event on AEW Dynamite. Pretty good match. I'll give that match 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. Pretty good match. But yeah, the main event was pretty good. But yeah, for tonight's AEW Dynamite, I'll give a 7 out of 10 stars. That's why, or I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 stars. Still a pretty good Dynamite tonight. But yeah, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other YouTube channel, Word of Chris 1-800. Subscribe to this channel, Chris Nails. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and I'll be down there in the description box. And I'll see you guys later.